is JPar.
Hey guys, Da Boo here.
And today we are doing the new review, and we're gonna review the big one. You know which one I'm talking about? The big one!
I think they know which one.
Yeah, do you know which one I'm talking about?
Actually, I don't know for you. I know.
What?
Are we talking
Endgame, man! Endgame! Man.
Yeah, definitely Endgame.
Okay, well, what were you thinking?
No, I'm joking. I knew what we were talking about.
Alright, because Wrinkle in Time's not going to cut it here. We're talking about Endgame, folks! And, wow, it's just, I mean, what can I say? I don't even know where to begin. It's
much going on. So
wow.
much. I know, I think I've heard everyone else say it too. I mean, there's so many ends, that they had to...
Well, let's not get into spoilers just yet.
No, you're absolutely right.
We're going to get everyone to watch a little bit with us here. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down into rating for it. We're going to rate it out of 5 stars, folks. And then from there, then we'll get into the spoilers. So that way you could, go get a chance to go see the movie. Come back, listen to us, watch us, whichever format you want. And then hopefully you'll get to watch us. This all works out. And then, and then we'll all enjoy talking about Endgame together. But first of all, I don't have my IMDb list in front of me, but I already know who's in this movie anyways. So in case you don't know, this is the sequel to Infinity War, and if you've seen Infinity War, then if you haven't seen Infinity War, then honestly, get out of here, watch Infinity War, then come back, because there's going to be spoilers for Infinity War here too.
Yeah.
So before we even get to the spoilers of Endgame, we're going to get to the spoilers of Infinity War. So make sure you watch Avengers, Infinity War, Avengers.
It's going to be kind of hard. If you haven't seen Infinity War by now, I'm sorry to say, but you got some catching up to do.
Yeah! Also, big shout out to everyone I just saw at the Northern Game Expo this weekend. Oh man, it was such a good time. Got to meet Wink Yahoo of Uh-Oh fame. Did you ever watch that show before?
Yep, I remember that. As a child, I remember being disgusted by it.
Well, they dumped the slime on all the kids there. And then our own Clayton he wasn't the Punisher, he played his Iron Hobo role, and TP'd and sprayed some kids with some stuff. So.
Is that what that was about? Okay.
Yeah. So that was also fun, and hopefully we'll get to see that video later. I know that someone was recording it. Hopefully, and also our session, we actually sat down with Talk Nerdy. We talked about some bad video game movies. Talked about Mario Brothers, Street Fighter, all that. Yeah. So that was great. All right, so let's get into the Infinity War review. Sorry, guys, for the delay. It is starring Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Paul Rudd, Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, voice talents Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel.
Right.
Also, who are we missing here? Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, who isn't in this movie that they haven't turned into a star already?
Yeah, there's so many people who have been involved with this project since the beginning. I think that's what's so great about this. It's gives me shivers.
It does, and it's like, if you've seen Infinity War, then you know what we're talking about. So, at the end of Infinity War, everyone knows. Thanos does the snap, 50% of everyone dies. Our new favorite Spider-Man, Tom Holland, he's gone. He was gone, taken from us too early. Anyways, I'm over it. I saw the movie, and so how are the Avengers going to bring everyone back? I don't know. We'll get into that into spoilers, but impressions going into this movie. What are your impressions going into this movie?
Well, we knew that there was a lot riding on this one, right? I mean, it feels like an ending. That's why they had to put it in the subtitle, obviously. I love the fact that going in, there was all this raw energy that we knew that was already built up from all these movies. We knew it wasn't going to go, slow going at the beginning. It was going to go headstrong, and it was all the way through headstrong. So I expected it to be powerful from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, the hype is there, and then I think you said something when we were coming out of the theater. This is almost like our Star Wars a little bit, because we love Star Wars and everything, and that was a big event for people back then. But nothing's been done on quite the caliber of what Marvel has done here, a 10-year span of movies of a continuing story that all seem to be at least mediocrely, successful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like I might not have been of the generation that had to. I was born and I knew of the Star Wars movies and I loved them like anyone else, but I wasn't quite that generation that actually grew up with it, so to speak.
But we love the Star Wars movies.
We absolutely love them, yeah. But by the time I had seen them for the first time and could appreciate them, right, I was at an
couldn't see them in theater,
right? Exactly,
and that's why they did the special edition, right? So that's why they try to reintroduce it to our generation. This is a movie for. This is something like an event for our generation. And even going to the theater, it was like an event. I was actually excited to go to the theater. I didn't care that we went on opening night, because for these Marvel movies, it's like a party sometimes, and especially for this, a culmination of all the stories over these 10 years.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, and, or seemingly so. I don't want to give away too much. But that's why, I mean, even the title, Endgame, implies that. Alright, so I didn't think I mentioned, directed by the Russo brothers, which they did excellently.
Absolutely.
They took care of Infinity War for us, and we saw their talents first in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and that was definitely one of my favorites, to be completely honest. After all these movies we've had over the years, that was the one that stood out, I think, the strongest in my mind.
I think that some of, theirs are, my favorite ones. I love Civil War, I love Winter Soldier, I love Infinity War, and Endgame is great, too. So let's get into this. And so once again, everyone knows the drill. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I do love these movies. And so you're going to get that biased opinion. I'm sorry.
You should know that by now anyway.
You really should. You really should. All right, so let's break it down into a rating. Why does it get that rating? Out of 5, you go first.
You know what? I'm still struggling with myself here, but you know what? I'm just gonna go for it and say 4.5 out of 5.
Oh wow!
There's only a few little minor things I think that kind of made this movie more of a, not as much of a 5 out of 5. You know, because this could have easily been a perfect movie, right? I mean, they had a lot riding on it. We know that, and after leaving the theater, we had admitted, we were not disappointed. So, to keep it broad, I really do feel like I'd said, I was expecting it to go, starting strong and end strong all the way through. It was just this one real big, powerful move of so many of these characters that we had seen come to this point. Again, it gives me shivers every time, because there's so much going on that sometimes this is one of those movies you're going to have to see more than once. I think all of us know this by now.
And if you're just a little bit of a fan, you're going to have to watch it more than once.
Exactly, and so many reasons to revisit the movie anyhow, but again, there was so many mid stories that I was really excited for, just as much as I was seeing that end game come to a conclusion. So that, for me, that was probably one of the best things about it. Got to see all of it culminate to this point, and it was worth it.
Oh yes, big time, and I totally agree. So I'm gonna give it a 4.
Oh really?
Yes,
okay.
I really did enjoy it. I thought about it quite a bit when I came home. And I thought the pacing of Infinity War was superior to the pacing of this movie. So that's why I actually take it down a notch.
Are you doing the Empire Strikes Back effect here on me? Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm not doing that at all. No, I'm not. I mean, I love Empire Strikes Back, but I'm not saying that. I'm actually not saying Infinity War is better than Endgame. I'm just saying because I gave Infinity War a 4 as well.
Oh, good point. I felt like you might.
I feel they're on the same level. They're kind of all the same story when you think about it. But now that I've seen, and I think I even said this when we were reviewing Infinity War, I'd have to see the whole story to know what I think of Infinity War. Now that I've seen the whole thing, I give it a 4.
Right.
So it's good. It's excellent. I love it. But if this movie's alone a 4, if they're combined story together, they would get a 4.5 or 5. But because they're separate movies, I gotta rate them separately. Infinity War's pacing is far superior, and that's why. And even I find other movies, other Marvel movies, have a better pacing than this one. I mean, it's long, folks. It's 3 hours long, and I mean, you have to love these characters. I wasn't bored. I'm not saying I was bored, because I wasn't bored, but there's not as many action scenes as you think there is at the beginning. It takes a bit to get to the huge one at the end. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know if that counts as a spoiler or not. But anyways.
3 hours should give it away anyhow, just how long it really is.
So speaking of which, okay, so this is the point. 4.5 and a 4, great ratings. So this is the point now we're going to get into spoilers, folks. So if you haven't seen the movie, you haven't had a chance, please turn away. Come back, see if your opinions match ours or your speculation matches ours. Alright, spoiler starting now. Alright, so what was the best thing about the movie for you?
Oh, God. I think I keep going back to my first comment, which was, I think, the comment I made coming out of the theater. It gave me shivers seeing Mjolnir being wielded by Cap. I mean, wow! Seriously, that's that.
That
I
was
mean, I'm not a comic
such a
book
huge
follower,
payoff.
right?
That was a huge payoff from Age of Ultron when they were all like drinking and trying to lift they're all like trying to lift the hammer.
That there was a reason why they did that scene a while back, and not just for the the giggles of it, right? It was the fact that we knew that at some point they had to acknowledge. Apparently, there's a moment in the comics themselves where Cap was worthy enough to wield Mjolnir. So I thought that was awesome. I'm glad that they paid homage to that. So that had to be my favorite scene of all.
That was an amazing scene. Oh man, I don't think I can pick one scene. My favorite thing about it is that for fans of the movies, if you watch the movie from beginning to end, if you've seen every single Marvel movie like I have, they got an Easter egg from each of those movies in this movie somewhere. There's a character that you don't remember seeing in a while. They're probably in this movie. Like, you're going to see, it's like, there's one point where, and this is the part where it kind of gave me shivers, like, not only the part where you have Cap, Thor, and Iron Man all fighting Thanos at the same time, which was awesome, but when they open those sling portals, and then you have all the returned Avengers come out, because they do, yes, folks, they do snap and bring the Avengers back. Yes. They do pull Spidey's okay. Spidey's okay, alright? He's fine. He's totes fine. Alright? But there's part where all the heroes come out, and then it's like, that was just so epic. And there's just so many characters on the screen, you almost forget that some of them were a part of the universe to begin with. You're like,
For all these years, you almost tend to forget all the little guys amongst all those heroes, right? Because there's so many characters. You really do have a hard time wrapping your head around how many of them there are up until when they throw them all on the big screen for you. So, when you finally see it, that you'll know.
All right, so what was your least favorite?
You know what? It's like almost every other time travel moment. I think I've said it before.
Yeah, time traveling.
Sorry, guys, but when you tread upon that ground of using time travel as a means to write yourself out of a corner, I mean, okay, fine. Yeah, it makes for great storytelling. It really does. But you got to be careful, and I feel like they might have stubbed a toe or two by doing this. We had a debate about it coming out of the theater for a little while, and we had theories.
We had a debate about it last night, even.
And I've heard of other theories online. It's amazing how many people actually have a hard time just really summarizing all of the effects of how they had to explain, right? How they had to bring the stones back to their time periods, in each of their branching time periods, right? If they were not back in their place, technically what they pulled off would have been all for nothing. And again, it's always asked, why didn't he just go back to kill the original Thanos, whether it be in baby form or something else?
Because it doesn't work like Back to the Future, which they expressed quite a bit in this movie.
Yeah, so the idea was that timeline they had to come back to, which was this main MCU timeline that we kind of kept referring to when you and I talked about. They had to come back to that timeline, and I'm not going to go in heavy detail in it. I love the fact that they decided to tackle it, but it also worried me the second I heard of it, right? They got time travel suits. Fine, whatever. Now you decided to throw time travel at this movie, and now I can expect just about anything. Even you pointed out, after all this, they can use time travel to bring back or do whatever the hell they want. At this point, you can have Spider-Man Homecoming, on a completely separate timeline, branching off in a different direction, bringing in our Far From Home movie coming soon. It's all of that I feel, while they're doing one thing, they can do this MCU thing in a completely other direction with other characters.
Well,
it's great, actually, but it's kind of daunting when you think about it. Oh my god.
Well, and that's a point I was trying to make. So, we're in spoiler town, folks. You already know Black Widow dies, you already know that Iron Man dies, and you know that Cap is a senior citizen now. So you already know that. So this is where I think the Black Widow thing is going to be interesting. If you still have this Black Widow origin story, then you're going to see something really cool come out of this. It might not just be a regular origin story. It might be something happening in another reality that they kind of made. So something that we were debating, and then you're saying, okay, so Cap's going back and he's going to replace all the Infinity Stones, and I know that Hulk, or Banner, had that conversation with the Enlightened One about how, I'm totally going to bring it back to this right exact time. Well, kind of opens the question. It's well, if you're every time you change it, it brings another reality off. Then every time he replaces one of those stones, aren't they just making another reality?
Yeah. Every time there's some kind of a subtle change, that you're technically living a new branched reality, right? They just created one by making that change happen. And again, it's going to give you a headache if you decide to go down this avenue and keep debating this, guys, so we're not going to do this whole...
Well, another thing about it, to debate, because I'm not done yet, Loki's getting his own TV series on Disney+.
Right.
All right? So, what happened in the movie?
Well, wasn't there a moment there where he got away with one of the stones?
Well, he got away with the Tesseract. Right. And what's the Tesseract do? It opens portals in space.
Well, is that what it did?
Basically, so he's gonna reality jump, and he's gonna mess with time himself and reality himself.
Yeah, he's gonna create so many different timelines.
Because our Loki is dead from this timeline, but they go back in time and they try to do things. They mess up. They mess up so bad, like Loki ends up getting the Tesseract. Toki gets the Lesseract, and then he takes off into who knows where, right? Yeah. He escapes.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously that keeps so many open-ended doors for them to, open. So, God, that's fine. That'll be another project for another day for us.
I think you're right, though. It's cool to debate about it, but I think you're right about the whole Cap thing about him coming back. It gives you a lot of moral questions, and it gives you did Cap really do that? Because he's still kind of messing up reality by doing this. He should know that he's doing it, despite the fact that he's spending his last moments with Peggy Carter.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I think part of that gripe of me not liking the time travel concept was, again, I think even further a part of that debate we had was, okay, he had to grow old with Peggy. Mm-hmm. You know that. So he lived the life that he wasn't allowed to in the first place, right? So he had to be the hero first, and then be maybe, the lover and companion later, in a different timeline. But he never was really given this option up until now. So I don't blame him for doing it. However, because of the super soldier serum in him, in my mind, I always had a hard time understanding just how he became as old as he did by the time he showed up in the current time period.
He should have aged. Right?
He should have aged, don't get me wrong, but not that fast.
Does Cap age slower with the super soldier serum? Leave a comment below.
Please prove me wrong, because I know it'll just make this so much easier. I just love the fact, though, that it's, again, going back to that time travel moment where I can accept it or not, it's just going to have to happen. And I don't know. I always feel like it's sometimes an easy cop-out. So
it's definitely an easy cop-out. And I totally agree with that. I mean, these characters that are... And I think that's my least favorite. We have these characters that are be taken away from us, but we can easily just jump into another reality and get them now. They're like, oh, we can never get Black Widow back. Oh, she's been taken by the Soul Stone or whatever. And then I think Hulk said something about, when he tried to snap them back, that he tried to get... Natasha back as well, and my wrestling's getting mixed up again. But I don't understand that. So I understand that part, but it's like I said, I'm like, why couldn't they? Every time they jump in, they do this. They open up another reality. You know what I mean? Well, if Cap was gonna go stay with Peggy Carter anyways, why couldn't he, while he was there, maybe just bring Tony or Natasha back,
Again, these are the questions you end up asking yourself, especially when the time travel is involved, because there's so many what ifs that you just suddenly start seeing pop up left and right. That's not a good thing. I mean, it creates a lot of an imagination where you can kind of come up with these alternate realities in your own mind if you really wanted to. That's the fun part. But again, so many variables just make this overly complicated sometimes. I mean, other than the simple fact that, as you had pointed out earlier, and I think we've repeated it, in prior reviews, the second you do time travel, you start treading on water where you've just given yourself an easy way out. And I'm not always a big fan of that. So when it comes to movies, yes, this is probably one of the better movies theme-wise to maybe consider using time travel. It's highly science fiction based. Other movies kind of use it as a backdrop effect where, it created the circumstances of the plot. But I just love that.
It's a time heist.
We're talking about this. Yeah, it's a time heist. That time heist was part of the whole effect of a group of different individuals coming together to make this work. It wasn't just one person hopping around in time making this work, other than Cap doing that later, I guess, with putting things back. But they had separate teams going to different timelines, collecting the stones from different branches of time periods to then bring them back to the present time to do the immediate snap, which wasn't quite so easy. And then again, recreated a whole new branching timeline, so to speak, which created that new world we're going to get from here on in, I guess, after Thanos has been defeated. So this is why, oh God, again.
So now I think they have realities that they could work with, and this is where, if you make Secret Wars for your next 10-year cap off, like they did with this, then you could easily bring in the X-Men characters and the Fantastic Four. They're just going through... they're just coming through these other realities, because that's what Secret Wars is about.
Yeah,
or the new one is anyway.
That's actually another way of looking at it too. That it's because it's opened up some doors, some other options. So many. The X-Men will be one of them. They'll be coming in from a different alternate reality of their own, so to speak. Or they'll somehow subtly mention the mutants somewhere along the line, and then we're going to see them suddenly show up. It'll be a transition, but it's again, they've created these alternate timelines. Now they've completely given themselves so many options to tap into. And now I'm really excited to see what other characters they're going to start delving into.
Well, I think Namor's going to be coming there soon.
Someone had mentioned, that there was a hint at that.
Probably Silver Surfer. I could see him coming in eventually.
I really hope that the Fantastic
It could be
Four
like in the
and Silver
Eternals,
Surfer
the Eternals movie. That'd be a good place for him to debut.
Yeah.
Or even Guardians of the Galaxy or something.
Well, that's where I feel like the Guardians are going to tap into the Celestials and a bunch of other characters that we're not going to necessarily see on our own home planet. So that would be another whole new set of avenue of movies.
So we got some interesting stuff to look for. We know we're not going to have Black Widow anymore. We know we're not going to have Iron Man because he sacrificed himself.
Well, aside from the Black Widow origin movie.
Right. And God bless Robert Downey Jr. because this is his last one by the looks of it. And he carried this franchise all the way from the beginning, from the original movie Iron Man. And Iron Man makes the sacrifice to save everyone in this. He knows that the gamma radiation is going to kill him because Hulk said it. He's like, I'm the only one who can survive the snap. If I do the snap, I'm probably the only one who can survive a gamma radiation blast like that. That's what the effect of it is.
To that level, anyway.
Yeah, and that's what killed Tony. But his snap is what got rid of Thanos and his army.
Yeah, I mean, it even injured Thanos himself when he had first done his snap. So clearly, this was one of those weapons that only particular people could be wielding.
Well, I don't think it matters who wields it in particular. It's just
to survive.
They had a hell of a time getting it off of Thanos. There was a huge battle for it, and it was in that situation they had to grab it before Thanos grabbed it again and did a snap because you don't want the same thing to happen what happened in Infinity War.
Which he almost did.
And he had his turn fighting everyone. Cap with Mjolnir, Captain Marvel tried her best. Like Thor, who was fat, still tried his best. And but yeah, so where do we go from here? I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 looks like it's going to have Thor in it.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Him and Chris Pratt get along.
His personality alongside Pratt's would be perfect because those two they feed off each other when it comes to those banters.
Wow, there's just so much. You have to go out and see it. It's an amazing movie, and it's an event. I just feel like it's like you go there, you're gonna see that it's gonna be a once in a lifetime thing. It's not often that you can make such an extraordinary event out of this, where you take a story that lasts 10 years. No one's been able to do that before. There's not even that many Star Wars movies as there is Marvel movies.
Yeah, no, that's another thing that they've surpassed with these Marvel movies is the amount of work that went into this entire world building of theirs, and then each world has got its own set of plots. There's, again, like I said, so much going on, but that's exactly how I feel. I feel about the Marvel movies now in my generation are exactly how I would feel like how people would have grown up with the Star Wars movies in theater, right? It's that same magic I feel that I was honored to receive. But it was just the fact that these movies are so much freaking fun that we get this kind of talk. That's what you want out of these kind of movies, right?
Yes.
You want them to be talked about for years to come, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So I'm anxious to see what else is coming.
We could talk about this forever, but we're probably going to be talking about it some more with some of our other colleagues, so we'll probably just cut it off right there.
Yep.
Leave a comment below. What was your favorite part of Endgame? What are you looking forward to see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Please leave a comment below. Always follow the conversation at Twitter. We promise nothing. Drop the G. Give us a big old like on Facebook, because we like when you do that. And then maybe if you got Eastlink, you can check us out on Late Night Ticket. You can check that ticket. Is there anything else? Check out JPar Plays on YouTube. We're playing Red Dead, GTA, stuff like that. Support that as well if you're not, because that's fun as well. Am I missing anything? We're getting busier and busier, and the Game Expo was great. Check those videos out. Infinity War, Game of Thrones is coming up. We'll probably do some Game of Thrones talk as well, so stick around for that!
Yeah, a lot of Game of Thrones
It's been a busy month, folks. So leave a comment below, let us know what you thought about Infinity War. And if you disagree with anything we said here today, once again, we invite you. Leave that comment, give us a like. But, as always, we promise nothing. Good night. I am Iron Man.
I am Groot.